and I'm honored to be your moderator for today. So to set the stage, let's briefly look into the International Mountain Day theme, which is restoring mountains ecosystem. So today we gather to explore the profound connection between mountains and humanity, delving into the crucial role these majestic landscapes play in our lives and in sustaining life and fostering biodiversity. It is my hope, of course, that our discussions will inspire collective action for the preservation and restoration of these vital ecosystems. Just to tell you what's going to be happening next, we will begin with panelists sharing their insights into mountains. Following that, we'll have an interactive Q&A session. So some housekeeping before we delve into our discussions. So for the Q&A session afterwards, we would like to encourage you to actively participate, please. Feel free to type your questions in the Q&A box or the chat box at any time, and we'll do our best to address them during the Q&A session. Now, speakers will also be typing their answers while you are chatting, or when you put in your questions during the entire program. So again, please also use the chat box to interact with other participants. This is a wonderful opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals who are passionate about mountains. So with that housekeeping over, let's now go to the real action. I'm also privileged to also see the webinar chat. That's lovely. Cool, cool. Okay, so today we are privileged to have 4 distinguished experts, each of whom will contribute unique insights to our discussion. And I have the privilege to introduce our first speaker and my friend, a mountain enthusiast and mountaineer for the last 29 years, Hafiz Bachok, who is Malaysian, has been climbing mountains in Argentina, China, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Pakistan, Papua, Tanzania, and Taiwan. In July 2023, he submitted K2, which is why he has the greatest of my admiration. As you know, K2 is considered the planet's hardest mountain to climb. His current mission is to promote trekking and mountaineering as a healthy way of life to the general public. Now, Hafiz will talk about the motivations behind climbing. So why, Hafiz, why do we climb mountains?
Yeah. Should I begin?
Yes, please.
Okay. And allow me to share screen first. Okay. I think you can see my slide now, right?
I muted him.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me begin. Thank you, Professor Dr. Mazlan, as our host for today. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. And let me start. We had our brief introduction to myself, but let me start with a little bit introduction. My name is Muhammad Hafiz, known as Hafiz Al-Kichok in all of my social media platform, and a lot of friends call me Kichok. And in last July, as mentioned by Tan Sri Prof, I submitted Mount K2, 8,611 meters, the second highest mountain in the world after Everest. And as also mentioned, Mount K2, known as the Savage Mountain, the most difficult mountain and the most dangerous mountain in the world. And the statistic recorded, 1 of every 4 climbers did not return from the mountain. And I'm so lucky enough, I am the second Malaysian successfully submitted Mount K2. And as at 2021, only less than 400 climbers submitted K2 so far. And in addition to that, I am the first Malaysian team to summit the 8th highest mountain in the world, Mount Manaslu, 8,163 meters in Nepal, Mount K2 in Pakistan, Mount Manaslu in Nepal. And I climbed 3 of the world's 7 summits, the 7 highest peak in 7 continents. And let me start my background. I started my first mountain 29 years ago in Mount Ledang in Johor in south of Malaysia, 1,200 meters above sea level. And when I entered my university, I joined a mountaineering club and I started to hike in almost every weekend. And then mountaineering became my passion and became my forte. Until year 1997, Malaysia sent the first team to Everest. It was a big success to our country in Malaysia. The first 2 Malaysians summited Mount Everest. And Malaysian Everest 97 is my inspiration to climb big mountains in the world. And from there, my dream began from Everest 97. And I had my first experience in Alpine Mountain in 2009 in Taiwan. And later, I signed up for Alpine Mountaineering course in New Zealand. And I summited Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest peak in Africa continent in Tanzania. Mount Aconcagua, the highest peak in South America continent in Argentina. Mount Katen's Pyramid, the highest peak in Oceania continent in Papua. And the list continues with mountains in Iran, in China, Indonesia, Nepal, in Taiwan. And our topic here today, for me, is why do we climb mountain? Why do I climb mountain? First of all, happy International Mountain Day. So why we climb mountains? It is a question to myself. Why do I climb mountain? And it is a kind of difficult question for mountaineers to answer. Most of us has no answer when we ask about why we climb mountains. But one of the best answer quoted by George Leaf Mallory, a legendary British climber and who believed has summited Everest before Sir Edmund Hillary, the first Everest climber. And when George Mallory asked why he climbed mountain, his simple answer was, because it is there. A simple answer, just because it is there. And he is absolutely right. Then, as for me, I have few answers about why do we climb mountains. First, for me, in my opinion, it is human nature. Human need a challenge. Human naturally have desire to explore. We need challenge. And that is why we see kids, our children, keep on running, keep on jumping, climbing, break their toys, climbing sofa, playing challenging games, etc. Just because they have desire to explore. It's our nature. Our nature to explore and to be challenged. And the desire to explore, the drive to challenge ourselves was the driving force behind our ancestors' exploration of the world. If we trace back to our origin of Adam, the first human being on earth, he was from Middle East, and yet his descendants now span the globe. It is a testament of the human instinct to explore the world. And throughout the history, individuals have sailed the seas, conquered new lands, built empires, and these are manifestation of the intrinsic drive of why do we climb mountain. It is simply our nature as human being who need a challenge. Other than that, the answer of why do we climb mountains might be stereotype, but it is very true. It is for our adventure. enjoy the scenery, and mountains often provide breathtaking landscape and opportunity for adventure. Second, our connection with nature. Climbing mountains allows people to connect with nature away from the hustle daily life, from the busy city life. And number three is our personal growth. Overcoming the challenge of climbing a mountain can lead to personal growth. It requires perseverance, resilience, and determination, fostering qualities that can be applied to other aspects of life. And number four, escape and solitude. Some climbers seek solitude and escape from the noise, from this distraction of the city, modern life, and mountains provide a peaceful environment for reflection and contemplation. And number five is, this one is the most important thing, for our fitness and health. Yeah, this one I always promote to other people to keep climbing, because for our fitness and health, climbing mountains is physically demanding activity that promotes our cardiovascular fitness, strength, and endurance. And many people enjoy physical benefit from mountaineering. And last and not least is for our social and team building. Climbing can be a social activity, and a lot of us enjoy to share our experience with others during our climb. But I think these are to answer, this answers of why do we climb mountains in general. And these answers equal to every gender, every age, race, and everyone in the world. And age does not matter. We can see elderly person still have courage to climb mountains, and they are very strong. To climb mountain could be the way we keep fit, keep strong, and this is also the one of the reason why we should promote mountaineering as a lifestyle for fitness and health. But as for me, why do I took biggest challenge to climb most dangerous mountain in the world? To climb Mount K2. And I know I have 25% chances not going back from the mountain, from K2. And climbing 8,000-meter mountains is very challenging. And I did climb not only one, but I climbed two of 8,000-meter mountain, K2 and Manaslu, and could be more after this, hopefully. And climbing 8,000-meter mountains is a big challenge of dealing with the thin air. Above 8,000 meters is called death zone because of less oxygen, of the thin air. But the question, why do I climb mountain, especially like K2? I must have different answer of why I took biggest risk to climb such mountain. First, I was inspired by First Malaysia Expedition 97, and I want to be on top of the world. After Everest Malaysia 97, I made my dream to climb one of the highest mountain in the world. That dream, probably my desire as human nature, as I told you, the desire to explore and to get challenged, same like other people. But maybe my desire to explore is bigger than anyone else. I want to climb most dangerous mountain in the world. But also I have another reason. Let me tell you a story. I was born in small village in Johor in Malaysia. When I was kid, my house doesn't even have electricity, no telephone, and I spent my weekend helping my parents in a small farm. And I never had any dream. I never see my future. Only after one of my cousins became a lecturer, and she was one of the most successful people around me. And I see myself as a lecturer. Why? Because I was inspired by her. I was inspired by my cousin. I had a dream to become a lecturer like her. Because as a kid, as a teenager, we need someone to be inspired of, someone as a role model to be inspired of. So after more than 20 years of trekking, climbing, I think I should make a difference. I can inspire people to achieve their dream. Same like my cousin inspired me. Same like Everest 97 inspired me. Yes, I do climb to achieve my personal dream, but now climbing is not only to reach my dream, not only to fulfill my desire, but I want to do it to inspire other people, especially Malaysian, to be independent to achieve their dream, not only in mountaineering, but in every dream they have. Second, I want to develop mountaineering culture in Malaysia. I want Malaysian mountaineers seen in the world. Seen in the world, same level, at par with other international climbers in the world. And of course, most of us will start with short hike over the weekend, small hill, and keep hiking to bigger and longer expedition. And hiking and climbing mountain will be our lifestyle, our Malaysian lifestyle. And for your information, after climbing K2 and Manaslu, and even before that, I founded 0 to 8,000. I think you can, or you cannot see in my t-shirt here, 0 8,000. This one is aimed to train more talented climbers with knowledge and skills before they go to climb big mountains. And 0 to 8,000 also, a movement to inspire Malaysian to be independent to achieve their dream. And not only climbing mountains, but all dream in your career, in your work, and every dream you have. And 0 to 8,000 shows our determination, our sacrifices, our resilience, discipline to achieve our dream. And that how the climbing Mount K2 was successful. And today, we celebrate International Mountain Day. And whatever reason, why do we climb mountain? I would like to advise two things to all climbers. First, please keep the mountain clean. Leave nothing but footprint. Leave nothing but memories. Second, safety is rule number one. To climb mountain is optional, but to return home is mandatory. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kicho. Now I call you Kicho.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yes, Kicho, thank you for sharing all that wonderful information. You said that for K2 is 25% chance you won't come back.
Yeah.
Now, most people will say, oh, but Everest is higher, and
Yes.
therefore the risks are higher. But that's not true, is it? So for Everest, it's about 10%, less than 10% chance.
Less. I think 3%. Yeah.
Only 3%. Yeah. So it's safer to
Yeah.
climb to Everest than it is to climb K2.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am so I'm delighted that you managed to fulfill your dreams, Kicho, after 25 years. And now your mission is actually to make mountaineering a part of the Malaysian culture.
Yes, culture
Just
and
like, as part of getting fit and all that. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. So let me now introduce you to our next speaker. And our next speaker is Dr. Dhananjaya Regmi. Now, Dr. Dhananjaya Regmi is the Chief Executive Officer of the Nepal Tourism Board. He obtained his PhD in Environmental Earth Science from Hokkaido University. He served as a postdoctoral research fellow for the Global Land Project in Sapporo, Japan. And he is a Honorary Fellow at Arizona University in the US. A mountain scientist and a glacier enthusiast, he has more than 20 years of engagement in Nepalese Himalayas. Dr. Regmi, please, all yours.
Namaste, everyone. Let me share how to share. Just wait. Just wait. There is something. Oh, wait, my technically where record. Just wait.
Unfortunately, we don't have a copy of your slides.
Yeah. Chito pathaidil na. Koi kanga to lai. Kavin ran bolo.
We don't have a copy of your slides, so we're not able to share.
I have it. There is some problem on the share screen. Okay. So
I was actually very
okay.
I was actually very excited to
I
have
think this is
Dr. Regmi. Yes,
yeah.
please, Dr. Regmi.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, and everyone. Namaste and good afternoon from Nepal. Well, I'm going to give a talk on challenges of mountain tourism, and most of my talk is going to limited within the Nepalese Himalaya, my experience, everything. So, well, first I'm going to start from tourism statistics of Nepal a little bit. Then I will talk about the tourism and role of mountain tourism in Nepal, challenges of mountain tourism, and what the government is taking, what the government initiations are there, and finally the conclusion. So, globally, not only in Nepal, but I think these data are equally like applicable. It is said that tourism is very important for every part of the globe. Almost 1 out of 10 job is provided by these tourism sector, and almost 10% of the contribution is in average is there in GDP in the world economy. But when we look at the Nepal, it is not that similar, though we are in case of the Nepal, we are providing around 11.5% of the job, but in the GDP contribution it is much less. So the one of the reason is we have the open border with the India, from where we are receiving the very large number of tourists, and those data are not accumulated in our national economy, or I think most of them are doing cash transactions, so it not seen in the GDP. But anyway, this is the scenario of Nepal. We are, in terms of the job, we are globally, we are almost equal, but in terms of the GDP contribution, we are little less. So this is the year-wise. You can see because of the COVID, it goes down, but now we have already recovered around 86% than 2000, if we compare it with 2019, so we are doing great. So after the COVID pandemic, as I said, we are now again, recovering, and we already have 86% of the tourist arrival. So what we are selling in Nepal? Actually, Nepal is giving a lot of emphasis from the beginning on, especially on the national parks. So we have 12 national parks, 11 conservation area, 1 wildlife reserve, and 1 hunting reserve. For a country like Nepal, which is very small in size, to allocate almost 24% of the country's total land under the protected area itself shows how much respect we give to our environment, how much we are giving emphasis on the green tourism. So this is one of the major step taken by the Nepal government. So this is one of the attraction of Nepal. Besides that, if we look at Nepal, we are, topographically, we have from 60 meter to top of the world. So in the high altitude, we have a mountain, we have around 15% land. In the lowland, we have around 17%, but most of the population is living there. So in the hills, hilly area is around 68%. So we have a different altitudinal zone, so we cannot have the same kind of tourism activity in all parts. So looking at the advantage of every topographical region, we have divided tourism into different different sector. For example, in the lowland, we are mostly focusing on the park and water entertainment, we are having a lot of casinos are coming up there. In the hill station zone, it is the area which is around 1,000 meter to 3,000 meter. Most of these areas have a very mild temperature throughout the year, and then we even during the summer they are very mild in temperature, or you can say low in temperature if we compare it with the lowland. So people love to go there and spend time. So the high mountains are mostly known for the adventure throughout the world, and we are giving a lot of emphasis there. So one of the reason why we are giving a different kind of, we are doing a different kind of activities in different zones, altitudinal zone, is to make our product, to give it a different identity. First thing, to make it a year-round product, like so that people can travel to Nepal focusing on different activities throughout the year. So like in the mountains, we have a seasons, but in the hills and in the lowlands, we don't have any season. People can travel anytime. So another reason is we want to attract people who are representing of any age group, like who are representing either they are the kids, they can enjoy the hills, or the lowlands, and people who are young or who are strong enough, they can enjoy the high mountains. So we are trying to focus on different kind of activities so that we can attract even the people who are retired or the very young people or the students in Nepal, so that they can have a different kind of experience. They can gain a lot of knowledge, and within the short distance, there is a lot of changes in the culture and lifestyle of the people. So people, this is, or the vegetations or the mammals found. So this is giving a lot of good experience to the people. So this is the another thing that, but even after doing or providing so many things, or declaring a number of national parks in different part of the Nepal, we are getting a maximum number of tourists only in 4 concentrated area. We can say Kathmandu, Chitwan, Lumbini, and Annapurna. So, or Pokhara. So beside that, we have a Sagarmatha zone where we have some more tourists. It is because of the Sagarmatha, because of the Everest. Sagarmatha means the Everest. So this is the situation of Nepal. So but even to attract more people, we are giving a long trails. We developed the Great Himalayan Trail, and first we have developed at the very high altitude, have a 5,000 meter. Later we realized that we need to have a little lower one also. So we have make the Great Himalayan Trail lower trails also. So we are trying to give more emphasis on the mountaineering activities. And if you look at the total contribution of the mountain, or the, you can say, trekking or the mountaineering, that is around 16% at present. So 16% is not very big number if we compare the total 1.2 million of the visitors of Nepal. It is less, but this has a very big contribution, especially on the economy and the job they offer. It is because people who are coming for the trekking or the mountaineering activities, they are spending a longer time than the people who are traveling to Nepal for pilgrimage or for holiday pleasure or for other reasons. So this has a very big impact on the overall national economy, and especially providing the part-time job to the people who are living up there. So this is the situation of Nepal. So, but Nepal, now today, because on the mountain day, we are going to talk mostly about the mountain. I would like to, address some of the major challenges of the mountain. One of the major challenges that we have realized is there are some of the situations that are not under our control. For example, unprecedented weather conditions. Though we are watching the most of the time these weather stations, but it is very difficult to give this information in the high altitude or the remote areas to the guides and the trekkers. So sometimes there are some accidents happen. Sometimes, like the snowstorm have come, and many people were died in Nepal in the high altitude areas. It happened in the past. So we are trying to overcome by providing the everyday these weather forecast to the people, especially providing such information to the lodge owners. So we are developing our these networking channels up in the, or try to develop our more these towers, so that we can give the better internet services, so that people get informed on time. Another is when you have a snowstorm or unexpected unprecedented weather, then there are the chances of or heavy snowfall. You have a chances of having an avalanche or sometimes the rock falls. So these are the some weather-related challenges that we have in the in Nepal, and this is creating a lot of loss, especially the human loss in the mountains. Another is the avalanches. During the earthquake, we have a lot of extra avalanches, or you can say the unexpected avalanches happen in different part of Nepal. Two of the examples are the two major tourism destinations. One is Everest and another was Langtang. So this was associated with the earthquake of 2015 in April. So this is also another challenge that we need to have some kind of at least we need to have some kind of kind of like some strategy so that we can minimize the damage from this kind of natural disaster. So another is a very important is that the Nepal climate change impact is very high, especially the temperature rise in the high mountain areas of Nepal is much higher than the global average. So the IPCC forecast says the temperature will rise by 1.5 to 4 degrees centigrade in coming 100 years, whereas it's in the higher altitude of Nepal, as per our Department of Hydrology Meteorology data, that shows the 5.6 degrees Celsius rises, so which is higher than the global forecast. So this is impacting a lot of a lot of things in mountain, especially the increased rockfall, because most of the rocks or the big rock masses that are joined with the permafrost due to the rise in temperature, the permafrost is melting and the big rockfall activities are happening. Flood and avalanches are also increasing. So this is the one. And another very major challenge is the glacier lake outburst flood. In Nepal, we have already experienced around 24 GLOF events, 21 glacial lakes, and still we have 21 glacial lakes with potential risk of outburst. 6 of them are at very high risk. 2 of them is what Nepal government has already lowered down, that is Thorol Ninja. Still there are the 4 lakes that we need to lower down, otherwise any big disaster can happen anytime. So this is because of the global temperature rise, Nepal is Nepal is suffering. And it is not, not only the tourism is affected by this. At the same time, there are the big investment on the hydropowers are also in danger, because most of the hydropowers were developed along the river valleys, and on every river valley there are the big glacial lakes which can burst out anytime. So Nepal need, this is impacting overall economy together with the tourism. That is another challenge that we have. But it is not only of the Nepal, it is the problem of Bhutan, it's the problem of Pakistan, India, or whole the Hindu Kush Himalaya is impacting from this. So but Nepal is also one of them, and not only this GLOF, but there are the avalanches that brings the catastrophic floods. That is also another thing that is seen in Nepal. So every year there are the number of the losses. Here are some data from 2010 to 2021. So we need to find a solution, a better solution for this, and it is not only in the hand of Nepal, but we need to work together for this. The another in the mountain is sometimes the very in the name of the development, Nepal is destroying some of these major, very known trekking trails. You can see one of the dozer is working in the high altitude around 3,700 meters, which is building a road in the high altitudes. This is it's a kind of a very challenging. At one side, local people are looking for the development. They think that once the road comes, the development will come. Another side, they are not understanding that with the road, their jobs, their local products are not going to be consumed, because people are going to drive all the way up in the higher altitude and nobody will stay in their settlement. So there is something, the lack of the awareness is also responsible for the development of these kind of roads. We need to control that. And this is the one question. This is the one thing that the private sector is raising, because private sector was sending the people for the trekking activities there. Another is like in the climbing season is very small. So Mount Hafiz, before his presentation, I think he understand better. We have a very limited time for the climbing. We need to have a clear weather conditions or the very, clear time to, and all the climbers who were there waiting for the 2 months, 3 months in the base camp, they try to climb at a time. So sometimes we see a long queue on the mountains. And internationally, they said that Nepal is trying to send more than our carrying capacity, but it is not like that. We need to give we need to understand that people, even if they go for 2-3 months and they stay there, they are waiting for the small window when the everything is okay for the climbing, and they all want to use that window. That's why it seems. So this is the another thing, that problem that way. And besides that, there is a problem of this garbage also, because with the rising the number of tourists or the mountaineers or the trekkers, obviously the garbage problem is there. So but it is not like we are not doing. Our government is taking a lot of initiatives on that for the to minimize the glacial lake effect. Nepal government has already reduced the lake level of two of the major most dangerous lakes of Nepal, that is the Chorolpa, and this is the Chorolpa example. This kind of structure was made at the altitude of around 4,200 meter, and another study was done, and the construction was made, or the lake was lower down at the altitude of 5,100 meter, which was the highest altitude lake lowering project. And you can see this open channel at the Imja Lake. So this was also two. Still, we have 4 lakes which needed immediate attention, and beside that, we have around 15 lakes which needed to focus. So there are, every big rise in the temperature leads to development of the new glacial lakes, and we really need to take, manage them. Otherwise, any time, any very big disaster can happen, which can sweep away thousands of foreigners and Nepalese at a time, because one Gulf is carrying around more than 75 million cubic meter of water. If it flood out at a time, it is going to make a very big disaster in the low stream. Besides that, Nepal government is declaring a plastic-free zone, and try to minimize the garbages that the people are producing or the tourists are doing there. So at the same time, we are doing a cabinet meeting. We are trying to give a global message, positive message. At the same time, we are talking about the Sagarmatha more and more. At the same time, we are running the cleaning campaign, mountain cleaning campaign every year, but we want to find a permanent solution for that. So we need to aware people not to bring unnecessary garbage up to the mountain, or whatever the garbage they are bringing up with them for the climbing or the trekking purpose. They should bring them. They should become a more responsible tourist, or the trekkers or the climbers. This is what we are trying. So doing so, I think at the last, I want to say that we need to install the warning system wherever possible. We need to do a risk mapping and the impact assessment along the trekking routes, so that wherever we have a rockfall or the avalanche problem is there, we can minimize that. In some places, we might have to think about shifting the trekking trails. So we are doing some of the studies there. And we are doing obviously artificial lowering of the water level of the glacial lakes water level. We need to give more emphasis on the other lakes as well. We need to promote the effective rescue system. So far, we have armed police force who is taking care of it, and some rescue associations of Nepal are taking care. But we need a much more better team for that. And at the same time, we need to focus on the capacity building of the tourism stakeholders, so that during the disaster, we can manage better. And especially, we need a very clear climate-induced disaster management plan in our tourism policy. Doing so, I think we can manage. And I think this is the similar problem globally. So if we share our experiences in the coming days, then people can learn, other countries can learn from Nepal, and Nepal can also improve whatever we are doing, or we can also learn from them. So saying so, I would like to complete my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay. That's a lot of information I've been looking for a long time. I will come back to you, Dr. Regmi, for more detailed information. Now, for the time being, I would like to call on, I think we don't have the other, no. Robson Marchand is not here. And so I now call upon Gordon John Thomas. He's a Dusun Tatana from Kuala Penyu, Sabah.
Yes.
Welcome, Gordon. He graduated in molecular biotechnology from University of Malaysia, Sabah. He is a coordinator in the Natural Resource Management Program at the Pakos Trust of Sabah. I hope you say something about Pakos Trust.
Okay, yes, sure.
This Pakos Trust is responsible for empowering indigenous people on the customary stewardship of their natural resources through good practices and use of traditional knowledge for the purpose of protecting and making sure there is sustainable usage and restoration of their natural resources. So Gordon will talk about traditional knowledge, its role in protecting mountain ecosystems. Gordon, over to you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Once again, happy Mountain Day. So I will gonna share my screen now, and I hope that everyone can see my PowerPoint. Is it in my PowerPoint? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the customary practices of the indigenous people in the foothill of the Mount Kinabalu, which is very famous in Sabah. But before further ado, I will talk a little bit about the practices of the community. Yeah. So, but first, I will also introduce our organization. So, like what our Madam Moderator was mentioned just now, we are a community-based organization. We have been formed since 1987, actually, and our main bread and butter is community organizing. That's what we are, and it's not about only talking about natural resources, but also education, socioeconomy, the rights of the community or the indigenous people in Sabah. So we do a lot of awareness, capacity building, and our vision is our community or indigenous people in Sabah, they are healthy, sustainable, and resilient. Yeah, and also at the same time, they're equipped with knowledge and also expertise, and also not only among them, but also for the younger generation. So, well, basically, this is Sabah. As you all know, we are in the northern part of the Borneo Island, but we are mainly IPs, indigenous people in Sabah. Well, basically, we are 61% are indigenous people, and we have three major groups, the Dusun, the Murut, and the Paitanik. I will talk more about the Dusunik because they are near to the foothill of Mount Kinabalu. Yes, we are farmers, we are hunters, and also we are gatherer. So this is how the perspective of IPs when talking about their territories. Yeah, for me, I'm a Dusun Tatana. I live in the coastal area, and I was very envy when I can, because from the coastal area I can see the Mount Kinabalu from way beyond from my area, and it's kind of like I really admire with our brother from Mr. Kafis, yeah, talking about a lot of like climbing the mountain. So I was like very inspiring story. It's like I will climb one day. I only climb Mount Kinabalu like twice. Yeah. I hope that I can climb more. Yeah. But anyway, let's get back to their territory. This is how IP's territory is. So it's not only limited to the village. This has always been, everyone was talking about, whenever talking about the indigenous people area, they're only talking about the village, but actually they are way beyond. Yeah, not only the village, but also they have the agriculture area, the forest, also not only the forest, but also within. I mean, it's within the mountain area. Yeah, river or the water body like coastal area, mangrove area, and they look at everything as holistic. They never look at like only one part of it, because everything is very interrelated. So similar as the mountain area also. So they're taking care of the mountain as if they are the elders for them. So this is the customer practices in Sabah. So when we're talking about the customer practices, they have a lot of very profound law, the do and don'ts, yeah, and they're also very respecting the living and the non-living, which is as I will share a little bit about today, because the mountain for us, the mountain is, even though it's non-living, but for us they are living entity, yeah. We have a lot of conservation practices. One good example is the Gompi Gunung, which is we use the area, we use the resources, but we protect at the same time. We have this free prior informed consent, yeah, free prior informed consent process, not only among the communities, but also within the spirits, yeah. So when talking about when we want to, one good example, when we want to open a land for agriculture, we not only ask permission to the community, but also the spirit. So when they already identify one area that they want to open a land, so that night in the dream, there will be indicator. They will say, okay, if there's a bad dream, so meaning to say they will it's a no-go zone. So you cannot open the land. Similar, if there's when they open the land, then there's like wildlife in front of them, or they stumble with snakes or stumble with deer. So they will stop activity. They will stop the activity, saying that they say that it's a bad omen, but it's a conservation process. It's a conservation practice, actually. So they know, although there's an animal there, they know. They said, okay, don't disturb this area. And that's one of the way how they protect the area. Monitoring system, this is also very interesting. They depend on the nature, they depend on the moon, cosmology, they depend on the weather, they depend on the birds. So they will know when is the right time. And sanction, I think Sogit. Sogit means to cool down, to cool down. So everything, and also they really emphasize on balancing everything. So if something wrong, something wrong happen, and it will be hit. I mean, the situation will be hit. So they need to make it cool down. So Sogit is very important. Even though the sanction is very small, just a piece of, usually they will chicken or maybe just a pinch of salt. That's, even though it's very small amount, but the important is the stand of the community. So this is how one of the practices, which is very holistic, and it's not only limit to only one part. It's everything. It's profound, and it's like it's related to each other. Yeah. So let's go back to the Mount Kinabalu. So this is Aki Kinabalu. Yeah, Aki Kinabalu, or we call it, well, Mount Kinabalu, but for us we call the Aki Kinabalu. Aki means elder. Nabalu is the name. This is our sacred mountain. Actually, it's a sacred mountain for the Dusun, but also not only for the Dusun, but also for the other indigenous group in Sabah. Yeah, even though there's one ethnic in the northern part of Sabah, which is the tip of the Borneo, even though they are mangrove dependent forest people, they still respect the mountain. They say there's a lot of folklore from their story talking about the Mount Kinabalu. And yeah, so this is everyone know about Mount Kinabalu, but for us it's Aki Kinabalu. There's one thing that I really want to emphasize here. Like, well, I was mentioned just now, even though the mountain is the non-living, but for us it's a living entity because it's a resting place for our ancestor. So meaning to say, for us, we believe that Mount Kinabalu is the highest part in the worldview of IP in Sabah, but it is the lowest part for the heaven. So Mount Kinabalu is a gateway between the spirits from the world to the next life. Yeah, and we have this, like I was mentioned just now, we have the FPIC, or free prior informed consent. We need to have a permission to the mountain. We have like Mamason, or monologue. We're asking for permission. We're asking for protection for from the Aki, yeah, from our Aki Kinabalu, yeah. And as you all know, in 1966, it has been gazetted as protected area under the Kinabalu Park. Since then, there's a lot of restriction. Community cannot go. Used to be the community will go climb the mountain, like what Mr. Kafis was mentioned just now. Why we want to climb the mountain? So one of the reason is to connect the spirits, to connect the culture. Yeah. So I think this is also very important. Although it's been restricted, but fortunately in 2010, they have like in collaboration with the Sabah Park and also the community around it. So they have this privilege. So they call it the Kakakapan It Gayongaran. Kakakapan It Gayongaran is written to the big themes. Yeah. So they have like just recently I think just like few weeks ago on the 1st and 2nd December. So they have this is the 23rd event for the indigenous people and as the Sabah Parks personnel to climb the Mount Kinabalu. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna share a little bit about the community Kiau. Yeah, community forest of Kiau Nulu. They are living in the foothill of Mount Kinabalu. They are Dusun Tindal. Roughly around 1,400 of them are staying there. They are farmers. So if you can see in the picture, they know how to have zones in terms of land use. So you can see here they plant pineapple, they plant rice, but beyond that, it's more on the secondary forest and also primary forest. And the primary forest is where they're taking care very, very stringent. They have a lot of protocols or law if you want to go or you want to enter to the forest. But this is how they manage. Yeah. So they have this protocol where they call it one. If you want to enter the forest, you have to ask for permission. You have to mamatang, not only by the community or the community leaders, but also similar, like I was mentioned just now, the spirits. Yeah. And they have to use the Borospuru. Borospuru means forest language. So it's totally different from the local language. It's not Bahasa, it's not English, but they have another set of language that they have to use whenever they enter to the forest. So this is where they were saying, this is where it's to protect them from bad spirit, but at the same time to respect for the good spirits. Yeah. So they have these protocols whenever there's tourists or people coming to the forest or to the community. So they will use these protocols. And it's also a reference for the younger generation. Yeah. So this is good. This is one of the example, few words of the example of the forest language. So there's a totally different from the Dusun language. And I think I'm just gonna also share a little bit about the Sabah quake in 2015, in 5th of June. Yeah. So 18 casualty was there's a loss of life. I think from four country, but the biggest casualties from Singaporean, and mainly they are very still young. They are only like 12 years old. So the casualty. But this is when there's no respect for our belief. This is when there's a few foreign tourists came and doing very badly in the top of the mountain. Although the mountain guide already asked them to stop, request them to stop, but they still continues doing it. Although I know it's from the movement, tectonic movement, from the Suda area, but we believe that it's because of it's really inappropriate, because of the inappropriate behavior during that day. Yeah, and there's a lot of post-traumatic happening to the community. Yeah, not only because of the casualty, but also when after the post of the quake, most of the community, they are very afraid to go, not only to climb, even you can't even climb the mountain, but also to go back to the farm because they are living in a foothill. They saw a lot of the landslide coming, all the boulders rolling down to the valley, and they're really afraid about it. They're really afraid to go back to their not only forest but also the farm. Fortunately, now they are coming back. They're going back to the farm and they're trying to live as normal as possible. But the thing is, the parks also already set up a very stringent do and don'ts to the hikers, saying that there's a lot of set of rules say that you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Yeah, so I think this is very important. Yeah, so this is some of the way forward. I guess this is very important for me and also for the community, where the sacred area and also monetizing, I think we have to be balanced. We have to look for balance between the tourism industry and also at the same time respecting the sacredness of the mountain. Secondly, I already mentioned about, you know, collaboration between the parks and the community. I think it's very important, not only talking about the pilgrimage going back to the mountain only once every year, but also in terms of conservation, protection of the area, and sustainable use of that area. And also, I think it's very important, the access of benefit sharing. Yeah, and acknowledge, I think it's very acknowledge and respecting the indigenous knowledge is very important and practices in that area. So with that, I think I'm just gonna end my slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Oh my goodness, there's so much. I don't know what the communities. I'm hoping that somebody in our participants will ask more questions. Again, as I said, Dr. Robert Marchand is not with us, and so I will now go on to the question and answer. I do not see question and answers questions from the audience, unless I'm missing something. Okay, because I have a set of questions. I'd like to go to the environmental questions of the mountains. And for this, I'd like to address this question to Kicho. Kicho, I've seen the pictures of the mountains of rubbish in the mountains. It's so sad. It's very, very pathetic. Now, you as a mountaineer, what do you think is the problem there? Why are people throwing rubbish? And what can be done?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for the question. I think as for our campaign, people now more, you know, they are more, people are more knowledgeable. People know, especially we are climbers, we know we cannot live anything in the mountain. And everyone always say about to keep mountain clean, a lot of campaign, and every climber know about this problem. But somehow it still happen. It still happen. And I think it's not because of our, you know, maybe such other factors could lead to this factor. Maybe because of logistic to bring out the rubbish. Let's say mountain like Everest in Nepal, we need to trek like 7-8 days to reach the base camp. Yeah, mountain like other bigger mountain, our trek is very long. So maybe some of the problem about the logistic is not because of our behavior, like to throw everything, but to bring out everything. And I've been to high mountain, like 8,000-meter mountains. I see even more. It's a lot of rubbish up there. The ropes we use for climb, it's never been clean. It's been there for years. I think some rope more than 10 years still there. And there's a challenge to bring out such rubbish ropes, and even our tent to sleep, they also live there up there in the mountain. So it's quite challenging in big mountain, but it's I mean, a small hill or small mountain should be, I think, should be clean as good as we can. Yes. Yeah.
So I'd like to address the same question forward the same question to you, Dr. Regmi. I think you have in mind, I mean, the Nepalese government has in mind all those initiatives to lessen the waste. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Oh, please unmute yourself, Dr. Regmi.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So actually we need to divide it into two parts. One in the
Okay.
trekking and another in the high altitude where people are going, especially for climbing. In the trekking trails now in Nepal, we have installed a number of the rubbish pit, and we did a lot of aware campaigns. So I hope the Khafiz have visited Nepal number of time, and he might have seen it's getting better and better nowadays. But at the high altitude, above the first base camp, or you can say above the base camp where they camp for months or the longer, there is the problem, and it is mostly because all the camp is on the glacier. Either these glaciers are moving, people knowing or unknowingly they throw some of the rubbish there, and that just go inside these crevasses. One. Another is when they are taking the ropes, obviously they are there for the climbing, and once they succeed their climb, they just return back and they don't care if they are bringing the rope, because they are so happy that they successfully climbed, and they thought that the people behind all the climbing companies who are responsible for managing everything, they will bring it back because they are somehow charged for that also. And so what I say is sometimes these climbers have to assure again with their companies if they have bought it back or not. And another, sometimes even if they are climbing, if there is a snowfall, most of the ropes or the gas or the oxygen cylinders, they just buried inside the snow, and they cannot bring it back. There are some other technical problems also. That's why now, and another problem is the urine, and the human waste problem is also there. So just to tackle with that, now we come up with now we are working on the sustainable tourism base camp. We are working with number of the scientists from different parts of the world. Now we come up with the one, maybe we are going to introduce most probably from upcoming season, if not from next year, the half liter of a bottle where if you urinate it after half an hour, you can drink it. It completely purifies. It's become a water. So, so, and even the who make this, the company owner, they are the engineer, they claim that they will drink it. No problem. It's completely purified. So I think it's not a very small thing. Like 2,000 people are there in the base camp during the climbing season. One person urinate around 2 liters of urine a day. It total 4,000 liters, and they spent a minimum of 2 months there. So
my God, yes.
how big the problem is.
There's a lot of urine.
Yes. So we need to, and at the same time the human waste also, we need to find some kind of a permanent solution. So we come up with this solar based heating system on these toilets, so that whatever the waste that can be recycled, one system is there which we are planning to introduce. And urinate itself cost around $300, and you can use it for a number of times. Then you have to change the filter. So but it is going to make the climbing little expensive, but it is very good for the environment. So otherwise, the Nepal government, especially using the Nepal Army, the climbing team of the Nepal Army and these climbers of Nepal, we are every year cleaning the mountains. But, even though we clean 1 year, next year again, we are collecting around 10 to 12,000 tons of garbage from the mountains. So how long we are keep cleaning? So this gives a negative message also. You come, climb, do trek, and do a garbage. We are here to clean up. So that message we don't want to give. So we want them to become more responsible. We have cleaned the high altitude second camp 1, camp 2 already twice. So we want to come up with some more sustainable way, or charging little bit more and giving a off-season job to the climber, so that during the off-season also they can go and collect all the garbage and bring back. So somehow we need to come up with the new policy also, but at the same time introducing the new technology is also going to make a big difference. Obviously technology comes with cost, and so government is now taking thinking about that, as how we can come up with this, how we can make people to adopt the new technologies that are available. And we had one conference recently in Pokhara where we have showcase this all the new products. So I hope very soon Nepal government is going to implement in the climbing.
And Dr. Redmi, how are you going to get the companies, these are commercial companies that are bringing the climbers up? How are you going to make them more responsible, to take on more, becoming more responsible for waste disposal and all that?
Yes, so there are the number of debate going on. One is with every climber, we have a kind of a rough estimate that how much food they are carrying, how much can items they are carrying, how much cold drinks or the other, even in the high altitude after they get acclimatized, or especially the Nepali or the foreigners also, they are drinking a lot of canned beer or using a lot of canned items. So we need to, to reduce that garbage also. We are thinking about, measuring that how much one company is carrying with them and how much garbage they have bought back. And there should be some kind of a penalty or some sort of the charges should be there in between. So far, by law, people are giving all the climbers and the trekkers, they have to put some money as a garbage deposit. But that money returns back once you come back and said that I have bought back all the garbage with me, which never happened. And by law, we have to refund everything. But we want to change this policy, and that is going to be an environmental tax that once they pay, it will never refund back. But it is what so that money can be utilized for the for the bring back the garbage and in the future. So this is what we are planning for. But because somewhere it is mentioned in our tourism act, so changing the act is taking kind of a long time. So we are working on it.
Thank you. I'd like to go back. I'd like to ask some things about the mountain people, Gordon. There's a lot of connection with the culture, the religion, or just basically daily practices, So I saw in your slide that after the earthquake, the mountain communities were still very afraid to go up the mountains, maybe, or even to pray. So what's happening there? I mean, is there a way the government is assuring the people that they, to carry on with those practices as they need to?
Well, when talking about support, especially after the quake, there's a lot of agencies supporting them. Not only talking about, not only talking about the infrastructures, because some of the village also affected by the landslide, and also some of the infrastructure also been damaged. But also, I think this is the most important is the empowerment the community, when they assure that this this incident will not directly affected or will not happen again. But still, they are very concerned about it, because even though the government say, or the scientists were saying, oh, this is because of the tectonic, it's only occur maybe like 100 years or 1,000 of years time. But still, they're still continuing, saying that this is not because of that. It's because of the inappropriate incidents. So what they did is they're doing the monologue. They're asking for permission, they're asking for protection. And from there, they know if they continue doing this, they will protect them from harms. Other than that, also, there's a lot of other agencies, non-government agencies like PACOS, and also from other organization also assist them in terms of alternative livelihood, instead of because they are very afraid to go to do farming. So we try to make it like a very small plot of farm nearby their houses, so they don't need to go to hike a bit further to their house. We also help them to encourage them to set up a small small scale of farms I was mentioned just now, and also small scale of enterprising. just to make sure that mainly the mothers, they're really afraid to go to the farm, so they can do some new activities or activities that they can try to cope up their daily life. Yeah.
Okay, Gordon, and also to Kicho, this is a issue of tropical mountains. There's a question here from their audience saying trekking in tropical mountains is very much different than in the alpine region, and supposed to be different from the Himalayas, since continuous use of the trails leads to soil movement.
Yep.
Particularly during wet seasons. This will also cause changes in the vegetation along the trails. I know, Kicho, you've also been, climbing in tropical areas, but can you, Gordon, tell us a little bit about this? What are some of the problems of climbing tropical mountains?
So this is not my expertise, but yes, because the soil is very, it's not rocky, it's very like, it's very, how to say, it's very hard for me to explain though, but it's because once it's rain, there's a lot of like soil movement going on. And as you know, in Mount Kinabalu, it's a catchment area, and there's a lot of water flowing.
A lot of rain.
Yeah, and because of the trail, it keep like, there's a lot of like landslide going on, especially in the trails, small trails. So that's why in recent years, there's a lot of like, the parks authorities and also even the communities, they try to help each other to look for new trails. They fix the new, they're fixing the old trails. Yeah, so they keep changing, and it keep damaging because of, people keep climbing that area.
Yeah, but the idea of course, changing the routes, keeping one route dormant for it to recover and you go on other routes is an excellent idea. Kafis, Kicho, you've been climbing, Gunung Ledang and all that. Do you see the problems, tropical mountains versus the alpine, or even somewhere like the Himalayas or Karakoram?
Yes, the same thing, same problem in our tropical mountain. I think I would like to add something about your question to Gordon just now. As we can see, a number of trekkers increasing, especially in recent years, especially after COVID. It is actually a good sign for a climbing community. It's not a bad thing. We want to promote climbing as healthy lifestyle and everything, but still it has negative impact to our environment. But in my opinion, we can manage this impact, this negative impact. Some of what we can do is from the authorities, they can limit numbers of trekkers daily or maybe per week. So just to make sure the soil, everything, the main, the environment is not damaged, affected so much. And we also can see the awareness. We need to increase the awareness to the public, especially the rubbish problem. And I think we still have a lot of things to do. Yeah, same thing with Alpine. We can see from Dr. Redmi said the Nepali government, they do their good job to control for this environmental issue. Yes.
I'd like to transfer our attention to the Himalayas again. We know that you have all those religious issues as well in Nepal. You did not bring that, you did not highlight that, but are there very strong, you saw that in Kinabalu, for them the religious sensitivities are very, very high. I found that in the Himalayas, the sensitivities are high. The religious movements, they seem very deep. I do not see, I do not feel that I am limited by what I can do because of the religious rites in the Himalayas. Could you expand on that, please, Dr. Rajmi? Please unmute yourself.
Most of the people who are living in the high mountains of Himalaya or the Nepal Himalaya are following Buddhism. And as per the Buddhism, philosophy, you cannot kill any mammals or animals. So they are highly religious. So there is no there is no butcher activities above Lukla, you can say. I mean, from 2,700 meter. So the thing is, mostly whatever the meat supply is happening for the climbers or the trekkers, that is all butchered in the low altitude, cut down in the low altitude, and people are carrying that. Either people are carrying or it is sending by the helicopters. So that is a very big one thing is there. That's why there is no killings in the high altitude. People believe that if somebody kills someone or some, if you throw even the stones to the birds in the Himalayan birds, then that has a negative things happen in the mountains. If something avalanche happen, then sometimes people, if they do some that kind of activities, they blame that, okay, this happened because of that. Similarly, what the Gordon has mentioned, okay, some tourists have, took off their clothes and took some pictures, and that has this volcano happened because of that. So similar things also, people have that kind of belief in Nepal. But the best thing is that there is no killing at the high mountains, and people believe that you should not cheat anyone, that God will punish you, something like that. So there is a very strong belief.
Anyway, not only in mountains.
Yeah. And another is, before climbing, everybody go to for the they take the blessings of the Lama, who is the this that is also there. Obviously, Hafiz might have taken a lot of blessings from the Lamas before climbing. This normally happen if you go
Puja.
Yeah, we call it puja, but yeah, it's a kind of we do puja, and that is after, or if you climb without a puja, it is said that the more avalanches will happen, more rockfall will happen, there are chances of accident will increase. So if you have a puja, you will have another internal kind of energy, or you can say strength, that nothing will happen, God is with me, and you just can climb. So that is something, it's a belief. But even after believing that, also sometimes the accidents are accidents. In adventure activities, it happens. Yeah.
So while you are talking, maybe I can ask you, I'll ask Kichot this question too. Why is the cost for mountaineering so high? That's one of the questions.
Well, what I believe is there are two types. There are actually people are paying differently for the climbing activities. Only there is a group permit and the single permit. That is what the government is taking. And besides that, what the people are paying for the services, what kind of the climbing guide they are using, how many porters they are using, what facilities they are looking for. Because now in the base camp, there are some companies who are giving a 5-star services. All the foods are going by the helicopter from Kathmandu every day, fresh food, everything. And I don't know why it is become more luxurious there. So government, from the government side, we said that it is an adventure activities. Let's not give too much luxury at the base camp. They are there for the climbing, for the adventure. Not 5-star hotel in the base camp, because all the base camp is on the glaciers and it is melting. And we are trying to address that one part. And why it depends on. There are the people who are paying $22,000 for the climbing, including their permits, to $100,000. So it depends on the person, which company you are using, or what kind of the guides you are using. Normally, most of them are providing the same thing. Only thing is for the safety, some people say, okay, I want 2 climbing Sherpas with me. I need 2 additional oxygen cylinders for me, or I need this or that facilities. So based on the facilities, it's different, but we are trying to standardize it. And we have calculated to give the right amount to the Sherpas who are climbing guide or the climbing Sherpas, and to give the right services. $40,000 is the average amount that one should charge for. If somebody charging you less than that, then there might be some compromise on the services they provide. And if charging more than that, that must be only for the luxurious. If you are a billionaire, you have to spend money, you do that. But we believe that in $40,000 is the ideal money, which cover every insurance, all type of stuff paid well, and they are supposed to get the best services. But to make it a rule of climbing, it is quite difficult, because if we come up with this figure, there, we want to make that no one should charge less than $40,000. Ever if people want to pay, that is up to them, but we want to at least give a minimum figure so that they paid well. And
it's a minimum standard, and it's true that with all the facilities that you have along the tracks, with all the tea houses, you have made the Himalayas very accessible, even to ordinary climbers, not climbers, trackers, and that's very impressive, because I think to make, I would say that the Himalayas are part of humanity's heritage. It doesn't only belong to Nepal. I'm sure you all have that attitude as well. So making it accessible to as many people as possible is, I think, very, very laudable, except, of course, the peak, which, as you know, is a bit of a problem. So, Kichok, I can understand in Nepal, they've got all these tea houses, with all these facilities that, is actually quite luxurious. I mean, it's really quite pleasant climbing the Himalayas. But Karakoram, on the other hand, the Karakoram Mountains, there's almost nothing there. It's so stark and bleak. And yet, maybe that's the reason why it's so expensive to climb there as well. But, please give me your comment.
Yeah,
the difference in climbing.
Karakoram is totally opposite from, I think, most of Himalayas trek. In Karakoram, especially to K2, Tan Sri Prof also been there to K2 base camp. You can see there are almost no facility available in the trek. I think the first few days we have proper toilet, and after that it's no longer toilet available in every camp. But it's also good. It's a good thing, because for environment, we don't install any permanent building and no village there anyway. So it is good good advantage, in Karakoram. And second thing, it's also provide jobs, for the local, for porters. We need more porters, we need more facilities during our trek. We need to set up our tent every day. We need, means more people working with us in the trek. Yeah.
You need to bring the stove, or even the kitchen sink sometimes.
Yeah. It's a different thing. I think there is good. There's a quite good thing also in Karakoram. Yeah, in this context of environment. But quite challenging for us as trekkers. More challenging.
Here's a good question. How are the young generations going to be encouraged to venture into this risky sport? I'd like a view from all of you. I'll start with you, Kichok, because I know you have some great ideas.
I think, like I said, it is their desire to explore. Everyone have their desire to explore. Only thing, which way you go to explore? To the mountain, or maybe some people, they explore computers. Some people explore more to entertainment, maybe. But this mountain, they provide a lot of advantage if you tend to go to this part of activities. So how to encourage them? I think, we need somebody to inspire them. Like what I do.
Mainly yourself.
Just like what I do. I always, in our social media, this thing will be. If they inspire, then this activity is like cool thing to do. Then
I'm also hoping that I could persuade the older generation to not fear climbing mountains. Like, if I can do it, so can they, kind of approach. But, you're right that mountaineering, part of health for us to promote health well-being amongst the population is excellent. How about you, Dr. Regmi? How do you think you can promote mountain climbing amongst the young people?
Yeah, well, there are for the young people, this is the generation, including my child, is like where do the milk come from or the rice come from? They say it comes from departmental store. So, they know this, they don't know how
Yes.
they grow. But we are from the completely different generation. We grow food. We have even, raised these kettles, and so to give them, so to the young generation, now I started the educational tours in Nepal, where we are giving them a track from a kind of a not only track, it's including of some of these bus driving, and then you are walking, then you are staying with one community, learning how their lifestyle. So, and we are taking them up to 4,000-meter altitude, especially the Mustang. So going there, they see a lot of changes along the way, how the vegetation change, how these different mammals, how the people's face changes, how their dress up changes, how their lifestyle changes, how the cattle they raise changes. And at the same time, they can see the number of the geology along the trail. So it is kind of a 7-day educational tour package for students that is equally good for school student, high school students, or you can say up to the college students. So the university professors are accompanying them. They are giving a lot of lectures on the way. So people, then that makes more enjoyable. And then doing so, once they be up in the higher altitude, then you can say for the first time, you cannot make them to go for the climbing or for skiing or do other activities. You just can show them. And once they get interested, I don't say that everybody get interested on it, but once they see, then maybe slowly we can encourage them for the more sport activities. So, or the climbing, for the climbing we can attract. Similarly, for the people who are retired, who are ever, who started to have a pain on their knees, for them also, we said that don't go to the high mountains. Let's just go to the top of these mid hills, from where you can see the wonderful jungles on the south and very beautiful mountains. Mountains, that mean you always have to touch it. Looking at our health conditions, sometimes we can just see and enjoy that. So we have so we have promoted, we have come up with some of those beautiful scene site, places from where these people who are retired, who really wanted to see this, and that is also we started. Another, if you are very rich, if you want to have a touch, then we have a helicopter services available all the way up to 5,000 meters, and then you just can go look at the Everest from the front and come back.
I mean, you can go to the peak, right? Now,
not to the peak, but at least
definitely the base camp.
Yeah, base camp you can fly there, but
you can fly.
It all depends on the cost.
What about you, Gordon? How are you going to promote the mountain climbing in your community?
So I will share a little bit. There's two stories, about the youth. So there's one youth nearby in the foothill of the Mount Kinabalu. I was asking them, like, hey, why are you going to? What are you doing in the in the foothill of the Mount Kinabalu apart from gathering or looking for non-timber forest product? You know what they were saying? Oh, we go for a hike, a little bit of climb, to ease our mind. It's like it's like a retreat for them. Yeah, so this is the local, the local nearby the foothill. And also this one, I also bring one of our university students to go there to learn with the community. And the youth was saying, oh, like she was like, why we have to hike, why we have to do this, why we have to walk this far. But the thing is, it's the way of life, the way of life of the community. So it's like you have to also how to say, reflect and also try to not respect, but also appreciate the way of life of the community in that area. So once you feel them, you will feel like, oh, I also want to be like them. I will also want to do like hiking with them, learn their life, go and climbing, near to the Mount Kinabalu. So it's kind of like, I think sharing is it's very important.
Yeah. Some people are so lucky that mountain
Yes.
mountain climbing is a way of life, like it is in Nepal. You know, you can go to the mountain anytime. Kicho, unlike you and I, we really have to plan. If we want to go to a mountain.
Yeah.
A lot of planning.
Mountain is just your backyard.
This in their backyard. So maybe we should migrate somehow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think we've run out of time. So unfortunately, until now, Rob Marchand hasn't joined us. He was supposed to have covered the environmental issues, the climate change, you know, what happens to mountains during this time of climate change, keeping in mind that we have breached the 1.5 degrees centigrade average increase. I think like last October. So we are in real trouble. And I think that the mountains are going to be one of the first to be affected, especially those glorious glaciers. You know, I can just see them melting away before your very eyes when you are in the mountains. And so, unfortunately, as I said, we can't deal with that those issues today. So anyway, we've had a very, to me, very exciting discussions. I was very concerned that we should always talk about the human aspect, the humanity aspect of mountains, and I think we've achieved that today. And so I would again like to thank all our three speakers, Gordon, Hafiz, and Dr. Regmi. I hope that I will be able to connect with you guys again in the future. Kichok, because I want to climb some mountains with you. Gordon, I must get back to Kinabalu. And of course, I must get back to the Himalayas. That's a very first thing. So again, thank you so much. And on behalf of the audience too, I would like to thank you all. And I think on behalf of you all, we should thank the participants. At one time, we had over 80. So which is great.
Yeah,
okay, so I'd like to hand over the event to the MC, Matthew.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dr. Mazlan. I found it very insightful and interesting, and I truly hope the participants enjoyed it too. Huge thanks to all speakers for joining us and for your incredible support of this webinar. To the participants, thank you very much for attending this webinar from all over the world, making this program a success. I would like to remind the audience that this webinar is a pre-conference event of the International Conference on Tropical Sciences 2024. We have more pre-conferences webinar coming soon, so please join us next time. Don't worry if you miss any part of the webinar. We'll provide you with access to the recording on the TropSc Foundation YouTube channel and relevant resources so that you can revisit the valuable insights shared today. We will upload the video soon. That's all from us today. Thank you, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.